There we go. Go ahead. Boom. Here we Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. An absolutely amazing broadcast this morning. I can't wait to see how it's going to play itself out. I can't wait to see how it's going to play itself out. But I guarantee you one thing: it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. That's what it's going to be. That's the word, y'all. Interesting. Good morning, Captain Lynn. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. How are you? Good morning, Morning Glow family. What's up, Badger?
Doing good, doing good. Badger,
Morning, everyone.
good morning. How you doing there, sir?
It's another blessed day that we all get to share.
There you go. There you go. Man, I gotta, we always start off, we got this way that we start off the show every day now. And it's political talk. And we want to find out what's actually going on in and around the community. Leonard, what happened over the weekend, brother? Anything?
Well, of course, we know we always going to be. If this is America. We always going to be faced with political opinions as it relates to what's going on with law enforcement. Of course, there are more incidents that have occurred this past weekend and
Wow.
relates to shootings and things like that. So
Again.
it lets us know. Well, we have to first understand that these things have been going on for quite some time, and
Mm-hmm.
they have not been the mainstream focus. So now, and also you see them on social media as opposed to your major networks. Your
Mm-hmm.
major networks are only going to show them when it's really to their advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how you're getting these inside on certain cases and not others. So
Mm-hmm.
we have been contacted, our organization or what have you, as it relates to other incidences that are occurring. And we
Mm-hmm.
know that it's up to our government to come forth with a plan as well as people on the personal level.
Mm-hmm.
The goal, what we shouldn't do is we shouldn't get into this notion that this is news or entertainment or anything of that sort.
Exactly.
It's not.
No.
It is what is actually happening to people each and every day. So when you have bills now that are going before in various states now, this is not just Georgia or what have you. These are bills across the United States to further
Mm-hmm.
voter suppression, to also we've been fighting lately in these last few elections as usual about the right to bear arms, but
Mm-hmm.
what about the right to protest? That has
Yes.
now come up under attack with this new administration. Is to categorize most protesting now as or let's say someone is planning a way of infiltrating peaceful protests and pretty much making them all riots as far as the media is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope that the media tells the truth when the government tries to declare a peaceful protest as a riot, and make sure that we're protecting peaceful protesters and not giving authority to those individuals that want to drive their cars over people protesting and
Mm-hmm.
all these other types of things that these laws are
Yeah.
being created to protect. Now, remember the case that we had before where the individual drove a car through protesters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Killed a
Well,
few.
well, now they have some laws going forth that protects those people for killing protesters.
Well, Leonard, I'm gonna say this to you, man, and they're trying to. I think they're trying to draw a picture. They're trying to paint a picture here, about protesters and who they are, what they represent, and put a negative stigma on the idea of being able to protest. What I've seen protests, I've seen a lot of protests in my days. I've been here for a few days, and none of which that I've seen were as ugly as January the 6th.
Never, because that's not what we've done. We've never done that. We don't get down like that. Now you'll see frustration in a city of people frustrated, but these are not protests.
Yeah.
When you start tearing cities up and starting fires and destroying property, that's not what we advocate at all. And never have I been in a protest that has been that way. But what has happened is agitators have been in the midst of protests, trying to create and instigate these things. And we do know that once it is written, it gives authority. All this people, you know, I'm not into the, I feel, no. This is what is written. This is the law. This is what people are going to use to protect themselves. So those people that do ill will, that like to think that they can kill protesters, run them over with their cars or whatever, laws are being created to protect their actions.
But see, Badger, my thing is, and I know you're hard of this, Badger. It's 2021. Why has it taken so long for this to take place? And how much of an impact was January 6th on them bringing these bills forward?
I'll say what I said back then. Things that happen behind closed doors. Wouldn't surprise me if that was just part of the reason to be able to make these bills, so that way they could keep people from being together and actually making a difference.
Wow.
You have to understand.
Go ahead, brother.
People need to understand my point of view. It's not pro-white, pro-black, pro one particular group of people at all. I'm looking at facts. I'm looking at bills. I'm looking at research. I'm looking at what happened with the pipeline. Look at what they got away with, how they treated the natives over there. And it was peaceful. They just wanted them off their land. This bill don't surprise me at all. They're just doing to the rest of the American people what they've been doing to natives since they got here.
And see, I think, and Leonard, tell me if I'm wrong in this, and give me your viewpoint. I don't think it's more of an issue, though it could be. There's stigmas of it could be about one particular group of people, because if they pass that bill, it's going to affect everybody. And so it's not like a black thing, white thing, native thing, Latino thing. It's just not right. It's a right and wrong thing. It's the way I look at it. What do you say, Leonard?
It is truly an attack on your freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
They want to silence freedom of speech. They want to put all types of rules around it as what you can and cannot say, and can and cannot do as it relates to showing dissidence to the government. This showing our dissidence to the government is a hallmark of democracy. So that's what's most important. Now, you people can go and argue and have their own feelings on the side. However, this is a direct attack on the right to protest in the United States of America. You do not need a law supposedly anti-rioting. We already have laws to govern people who act a certain way. Willful destruction of property and all these types of things. We have laws for that. By implying that one, just as they try to demonize anyone who protested on behalf of African American issues, to label us as black extremists. See, these are the things that were going on. So we have to always fight these efforts and not be turned away by some language that we may or may not understand. You understand what I'm saying, Badger?
Oh, I do.
Because that's a good way to look at it. Is like you say, it's not from a particular, unless they make it particular. So anti-rioting bills would really affect protesting if you notice the nature of protest have become very mixed. Whereas you see more people showing up to protest to start a problem than protest a problem. So this whole thing where now you have people bringing guns and everything else to protest, flashing guns, actually walking down the street, threatening to kill people at protest.
That ain't a protest. That's a riot.
Exactly. So, and these people are usually those people that are less punished.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So to say you have an anti-racist bill that is truly ethical is a lie.
Well, I've been having discussions on the Discord and things like that, you know, in the gaming communities I'm in lately.
Right.
Talking about the protesting versus rioting and actually how to tell the difference. The council culture stuff, you know, because to me, a lot of the things that are going on is an attack on freedom of speech.
Yes.
You know, I like if someone wants to be hateful towards me because I follow my Native American path, to me, that's their right as an American. However, they're not going to put hands on me.
Right.
But if that's the way they want to speak, you know, that's what our Constitution says. You know, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, you know, freedom, freedom, freedom. Yet now it's getting, you can't.
Right.
You know,
they say freedom of speech, and I agree with you when you say that. They do say that you have freedom of speech, but if you say something, there's certain things they're not gonna allow you to say. They'll come and get you.
And this is why people have to be careful, because I think this is what you're referring to as cancel culture, right? Right. Badger, is this notion that everyone has to, well, I wouldn't call it cancel culture, but this notion that everything that comes out of somebody else's mouth has to be pleasing to you is so irritating to me. I am a very much freedom of speech person or what have you. But to sit around and say you don't like what somebody says every time somebody says something is absolutely ridiculous to me.
Oh man, you should see the updated Twitch rules for words that are allowed or not allowed.
Right.
The word simp is banned on Twitch now.
That's ridiculous.
Virgin is banned on Twitch now.
I don't know what the deal with Twitch is because I don't use it. So,
well, no, it's just, you know, well, one of the reasons the word simp's banned is because of the, you know, there's women that are very proud of their bodies and they wear what they want. And of course, a bunch of males are going to go up in there and watch them, you know, and you know how you know how males can be. And people called them simps, and they got offended, and all of a sudden it became a term that they don't want people to say or
what
hear.
Does the word mean? Because it has a completely different meaning, I'm sure, on Twitch.
It does. Hold on.
And it has nothing to do with when we use simp. It has nothing to do with that.
And that goes right into what I was saying about, you know, certain things you say even on Twitch. And I was talking about the government when I said it earlier, but even on Twitch, there's certain things that they will not allow. Freedom of speech is one thing, but certain things you're not gonna be able to say and coexist here. And that's what Twitch is saying.
So the way I grew up, simp was like someone that was just foolish or silly.
Oh,
Now, simp is slang for a person, typically a man, who is desperate for the attention or affection of someone else, typically a woman.
right.
And it was something that teenagers have been using to insult boys who are like
Easily
overly
taken advantage of by women, and usually we call them like thirsty or
Yeah.
something like that, or
Yeah.
trying. They just falling for whatever women
Hey, watch
selling.
out now.
Mhm.
Don't give them a new word. They might ban that too.
Because that's crazy to ban such a word like that, really.
What?
But hey, you know how people are.
Well, was like the Dr. Seuss books. Look at all the
Yeah,
stuff that happened, and look at how many people have been protesting it.
right. And like what
Yet,
to each his
and
own.
here's my thing: they will on the news show the reason why it should be banned or taken out or whatnot, but they don't show all the people that are going, y'all are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But
They're not going to. They're not going to because they want to have themselves on look at themselves or view themselves on a higher plane. They are the authority,
yeah.
and the authority is not going to put themselves in a negative light because they have the power to do the opposite.
So here's my question: if we are truly a freedom of speech or freedom country,
We're not.
then explain to me why the news is always shows one side.
Mm-hmm.
Because the news is not a public entity. The news is a private corporation.
Mm-hmm.
The news is not created specifically for, I guess we would say, truth.
Mm. That's why
They may be judged that way.
That's why you have so many different layers. So you have the different views, CNN,
Right, different views.
Yeah. It is whatever you like in your eggs.
Right,
Whatever
right.
in your
Like,
eggs. That's what it is pretty much.
and what I find funny is you can get a more rounded understanding of situations of what's going on in America by going to like BBC,
Mm-hmm.
news channels in other countries,
Yeah.
and hear both sides more than you can in this country.
Right. And
Because
that's the
sad.
difference. That's
it
the
affect-
difference.
it doesn't affect them in the same way. It doesn't affect them to tell the truth in the same way. It affects people here on this soil. It affect them it may affect them one way or another if they tell the absolute truth. It could affect their bottom line. It could affect their livelihood. It could affect so many different things if they tell if Fox News or CNN came together and just told the absolute truth about what's happening. It's going to affect a lot of people.
Oh, you mean people can make an actual educated decision?
It's going to affect a whole lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to affect a lot of people because now they have the absolute truth. And you're absolutely right. They're better make an educated guess, but look at what it's going to do to the quote unquote limit the haves. It's going to affect the haves in a lot of different ways.
That's right. And it's that way, and it's specifically that way.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to, I don't know why people don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there is just something wrong with people mentally who only believe that way.
Mm-hmm.
So for whatever reason it's being done, they're capturing the people that they can. And these are usually people who are lower educated a lot of times and easily follow certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always going to be some folks, always, that fall for the okie doke, so to speak. They're going to be all caught up in it, and they're not going to really, especially when it, like you said, when it's their cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
If you a racist or what have you, and you don't care for minorities, there are some news outlets that you're going to prefer. You're just going to prefer those outlets. If you're a Republican, or a Democrat, there are certain outlets you're going to prefer.
Mhm.
We've all listened to both, I'm sure. I can't believe how ridiculous Fox News sounds. I mean, I just the stuff that they put there, you can't. I don't know how anybody could follow that.
Mhm.
Personally, very little truth there when it comes to
Yep.
certain things.
Exactly.
So to each his own.
But you got some people that die by it. They would die by it, man. By what's on Fox News, they would die by it.
Most definitely, and those are people that I usually don't really associate with because how do I say? They're just people I'd rather not speak with. They're just
Mhm.
people I'd rather not entertain. I don't care for them to be around or what have you. They're not my type of people.
Mhm. Now, what else is going on, man? You say there was another shooting. Now, tell me about the shooting that happened this
Well,
week.
I'm not going to talk about shootings. Let them come up on the news because a lot of times they pertain to what may be possible cases for investigation and
Mhm.
things like that, and it's all on social media
Mhm.
and things of that nature. So we
But there was one.
pushed them a different way. There were
Mhm.
several shootings. Shootings
Wow.
don't stop simply on schedule. It's not a schedule of shootings.
Mhm.
There's always a shooting.
Mm.
See, I don't do breaking news
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm not
Well,
into that.
we're in the business of letting people know what's going on, though. Letting here
Yeah,
over here.
but the to give just information without details
Mhm.
does not do anyone's
Could be
mission justice.
could be misleading.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I don't get involved in people's misery just for conversation until I have details.
Okay. Okay. Badger, do you think it'll ever stop these shootings,
Which shootings?
the police shootings?
Police shooting people or people shooting them?
Badger, police shootings.
I need more info to answer that.
Police shooting people. Do you think it ever stop? We'll stop having police shooting people?
Probably not.
Mm.
That's their job. They're not going to stop shooting people.
Yeah. If
Mhm. Well, I'm not talking about, if it's justified, then one thing, but just
Well, they
a lot,
believe it's all justified.
but it's not.
No,
Uh,
it's not.
It's not at all. No, that's not.
But they're not going to stop shooting people unless there's a law put in place for them to stop shooting people.
Hmm.
And there won't be a law.
So basically, what you're saying is it's going to continue.
Yes.
Wow.
Until you get rid of all those people who would like to shoot and kill someone, you're going to have this problem.
Well,
See, these people that are doing this, they like to shoot and kill people. That's why they do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been able to do it for a long time without any repercussions.
Exactly. That's why they do it because it's a cultural habit for
Mm-hmm.
those organizations. That's their culture of their organization.
Now, what do you say to the people that say, "Well, no, y'all had to do something for the police to shoot you. You had to do something. Something had to happen. They're not gonna just take the gun out, point it at you, and shoot you." What do you say to those people, Leonard?
Would you have the same point of view if it was your kid they killed?
Mm.
Would it just be? Did they have to do something as well? Is that okay?
Mm.
Ask yourself that.
Wow. I think the answer would really change.
Right. Exactly. It would always change
Yeah. If
because it's
that's
unjust.
yeah. Yeah.
That's how you test it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you should test. Basically how I conduct myself. Would I want someone to do it to me?
Mm-hmm.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be treated unfairly, so I don't treat people unfairly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why is that so complicated? That's been like the golden rule forever. I mean, growing up in school, there was the golden rule: treat others like you want to be treated, and don't do this. That was the golden rule. Why is it so hard?
Because some of these people are children of the devil. That's why they don't go by the rules of the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
They go by the devil's rules, and that's why they behave the way they behave.
Because they're devils.
Yes,
Or
most
devil.
definitely. That's why you see them acting like they're acting.
Mm-hmm.
They are about the devil's agenda.
Somewhere it says in the Bible to remove the evildoers from amongst you. Somewhere in the Bible it speaks on removing the evildoers from amongst you because they will do evil.
Well, you're gonna always be fighting with them.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're on the right side, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know some people will always say, "Well, what's right or wrong?" If you don't know it, you are of the devil, and you should die and go to hell because you don't know right from wrong. So that's where that's where your home shall be. Hell, go there.
Mm-hmm. Because
Nobody have time to play with you about right or wrong.
Because to ask the question, what is right or wrong? That's suspect to me.
Don't even be standing in front of me and be my age talking about you don't know right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We may have to go to war immediately.
Mm-hmm. Badger, what do you say to that? What do you say to an individual that asks the question, what is right or wrong?
I just ask them some questions to get an understanding of what they think is right and wrong.
Mm-hmm. They don't know. They're asking. It's why they're asking you. They don't know. They ask you what is right or wrong. Because they're saying we say get them, remove those that do wrong from amongst you, and they come back. Their response to that or their rebuttal to that is what is right or wrong. They
a lot.
Go ahead.
A lot of people are incarcerated. It's called law.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the law is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we're doing. This is the law. When people commit break laws that harm others or what have you, we incarcerate them.
Mm-hmm. And see, the thing about it, me and I don't know if everybody should be this way, or I assume everybody is this way. But if I feel as though I'm doing something wrong to somebody, it just don't feel right to me.
Everybody, I've heard that everybody don't feel that way.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's just me.
I don't agree. I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that everybody knows when they're doing wrong.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Man, I know
you'd be hard pressed to get me to change my mind about that.
Yeah, because it's a feeling that you get, man. You know it's wrong. And if you continue down that path, then that makes me question you a lot. If you know you're doing somebody wrong, and you continue down that path, then I question. I'm questioning now.
I know people that have serious mental disorders. I know people with low functioning, but they know when something is wrong and when it's not right, based on how they feel, and because they don't have a lot of them don't have very many inhibitions expressing how they feel. When you talk with them, they'll let you know how they feel, or they'll be disgusted because they feel that they've been done wrong. I'm talking about that genuine feeling of unease.
Yeah.
That you have whenever you're approaching something that is not in your best interest. It's almost as if you would have to go against your own constitution to do it. If there's no struggle, then you are an evil person.
Yeah.
678-381-1973.
Yes, sir.
Is the phone ringing? Because I'm waiting on it to ring today.
Yeah. Hopefully they're gonna call in, man, because we have quite a few people that's actually tuned in. So hopefully they'll call in and we'll have this discussion. If they don't want to call in because they're watching, they can actually chat, and I'll read the chat, and we could go from that route as well. But evil, if a good person, I think, and Badger, you tell me what you think. I think if a good person, a decent person is doing something that is evil, they're going to feel some kind of way and know that it's evil and stop in the midst of doing it. Maybe even to the point where they apologize. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because that's what a decent person does. What do you say to that, Badger?
Right, man. My brain's kind of on the freedom topic. um, like there's just, it's really hard for me to think that a person doesn't want to do good toward another human being. Now, I know there's some people out there that, that are truly sick-minded and all that stuff. And then there's the people that honestly think that what they're doing is right because they think other people, they're getting rid of the evil because of how a person looks or the way they believe. And they honestly think they're doing good.
Wow.
Which is to be honest, scary. So, like, to me, the biggest issue is there's not enough psychologists in this country right now for all the issues that's going on. Because to me, a lot of it's just common sense. It's not. I don't find things hard to research or look into, but apparently other people do. Which for some I can understand. For others, it's to me it just feels like they don't want to.
Exactly. And my question is, how could you not want to do good? How could a person not want to do good? And let me read this. This is what Public Citizen said. He says some people were taught that wrong is right. We don't all have the same values. For many people, money is their highest value. Does someone like Donald Trump actually think he is right when he is clearly wrong? Let us speak on that.
He believes he is right. He believes he is right. And if it ain't right, he doesn't care. He's not even concerned about it being right. It's what he wants to do. That's what rules his constitution. Whatever he wants to do. So it's not a matter of not knowing. It doesn't matter.
Wow.
He's going to do what he wants to do, whether it's right or not. He's not concerned with that. And most people like him are not concerned. If you see something that's illegal, what do? Let's make it legal.
Yeah.
Or let's try to get away with it.
Change the laws.
Right. It's like I tell people a lot of times, the law is not based on right and wrong. Some people would like to believe that. I guess that's this ridiculous notion that somehow America is a Christian nation, but it's not. So what's right is
hold on. You're stepping on a lot of people's toes now.
I don't care. Bring their whole fit. Matter of fact, lay down so I can get in your face.
Lord Jesus.
With a pair of cleats on.
Good Lord. You playing football then?
Because, it was just this notion that everything is just wishy-washy. Well, what's the difference between right and wrong? Kill yourself. You'll find out. Because ain't nobody got time to fool with you. You out here doing what you want to do, and then you go sit in court and then come up with some reason why you shouldn't be punished for the things that you've done.
The evil things.
Yes. And then you get to talking about, he wasn't raised properly, or I could care less. Look at what you did. Look at the harm you caused other people. Now, whether you believe it's right or wrong, here's the evidence. You hurt other people. And in our society, we should incarcerate and punish people for that.
And supposed to.
That's what supposed to be doing that.
Yes, that's what the law says we do. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Grand rising to everybody. How y'all doing this morning?
Good morning, doing sir. Good. We're talking about, man. You read what I just read about what our Public Citizen said. Rico, what do you think about that, man? You got your Donald Trumps of the world that's doing wrong, but they think they don't know it's not right. They think they're confused to the point, whereas they feel as though they're right. What do you say to that?
They know it's not right. They just choose to make themselves feel comfortable because they think they're superior. We live in a world of MOE, money on everything, and a lot of people preach that. You know what I'm saying? Prosperity preachers preach that. Some people say that if you don't send money, they going to hell.
Mm.
They need money. God even want money.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to have money too. He wants you to be prosperous. You know, so we have become a society that took love, morality, and values out of the equation. So you made a comment earlier about the laws being intended to or the voting the impact that those voting ID laws could have, the new laws that everybody's talking about in Georgia. It could impact everybody across the board. Well, it's supposed to. Laws are supposed to be made for everybody to be leveled out against each other equally. The laws put in place to make sure that we comply. The police are supposed to apply to the white people that stab at them and fight them and take their tasers too. Not Burger King. They supposed to get some bullets too if we get them. But see, for some reason, we are always disproportionately the ones that the law applies to, even though it should be equal across the board. So it was strange that you said that. Well, this could have an impact on everybody. It's supposed to. All made is supposed to impact everybody, because if it don't, it's discriminatory.
Exactly. Come on.
So that's legally what it's supposed to do. They call it equal rights. So for us to even believe that it could affect everybody, yeah, that's the intention. But now let's dig deeper at the reality of things. The history of it is that you always have people in power and money over everything. Money, it gives you access and power and privilege. People in power, greedy people, decide that they want things their way. They don't want nobody else to have it their way. They want that privilege, So, it has to be regulated. It has to be monitored. Like I said, because when you take love and morals and integrity out of the picture, values, then yeah, you have people that's gonna manipulate it for their agenda. Every law is supposed to work across the board. It's supposed to be everybody equally. But like I said, the problem in this country is that it's only used when it's an opportunity to use it against a certain people. So,
Wow.
That's the situation that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? If we don't understand that it's supposed to work across the board with everybody, we've begun to be brainwashed. And it should be automatically understood. Actually, make points that shouldn't be made.
Wow.
And that's not a knock on you, but that is something that just think about a lot of the things that we address. We talk about, but it's a problem. I ain't gonna say it's a problem. It's new and fascinating us to see so many white people and people of other races jump on board. Why everybody jumping on board? Because racism is a human rights issue. It's human rights. So if we have to ask that question, that goes to show you that somewhere along the line we have embraced the fact that we may be less than also. We don't realize that we are part of the human race, so it's confusing to why other people come
How
in.
often is it in this thing that we're talking about? How often is it, Rico, in this thing? And we got a call. We're going to go to the call in 1 second. How often is it that we find ourselves, even sometimes the good people, find ourselves in a situation where we have one foot on one side and the other foot on the other side, where we're actually treading on both sides?
I ain't gonna say most of the time, but a lot of the time, because as human beings, we want things that make us feel good. Personal gain, individual personal gains, or family gains. You know what I'm saying? We want things that make us feel good, that helps us progress. We look at that as positive. So who doesn't want to progress themselves? Thing is, like I said, when you start talking about love and morality and equality, humanitarian efforts, then you have to also think about that neighbor's child.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what the issue is coming at now, that people, for the most part, are becoming so driven just to look out for themselves, just to survive, self-preservation. Race of human beings. It's almost strange to see us love each other.
Wow. And that's crazy. That is crazy. We got a caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? I think we got Toya with the T. Toya with the T. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Hello.
Did you hear what I read just now?
What you read? No, I didn't hear what you read.
Read that, Rico.
Some people were taught that wrong is right. We don't all have the same value. For many people, money is their highest value. Does someone like Donald Trump actually think he is right when he is clearly wrong?
Toya, what do you say to that?
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Called spirit thinking. You know, the Bible books they call it spirit thinking. But no, I agree. A lot of us are taught was right. Like I said, sow your oats. You want them to sow the oats, but you don't want them to get married.
Mm.
You know, there's quite a few things that I believe that falls in line with Christian values that the world does. That you know, they consider I guess wrong. You know, the wrong thing. You know, because then we start to question, oh, who says we should wait till you get married, have sex, and who this, who this? And it all starts from family values, family structure. This is the part that we missing, man. The breakdown of the family, the buildup of the family is very important. The mother, the father, and then the children. That's everything. You know what I'm saying? But yes, absolutely, I agree. And like you just said, Donald Trump. You know, you raised to be a racist, raised not to like someone because they are darker than you or because they're a Latino or whatever. That's the wrong raising. You know what I'm saying? Even if your culture is white is right and we run everything and oh well I can't be empowered and we grab the God. Okay, well that's your thinking. It's still a wrong way of thinking. So absolutely I think that is something that is a humanitarian issue. You know, as humans, man.
Yeah.
You know, the apes took over for a reason because it was like the humans is doing too much. You know, but Rico's absolutely right, man. You know, the world that we are at now, trust and love. You know, the way they scatter all this stuff on TV, like it's weird to see somebody to help you because now it's like, well, why are you helping me? Well, what you want? Well, what you doing? Well, where you want to get at to my kid? Well, what you want? Well, what you doing? You know, this culture for the last 30 years, man, has really raised us to not trust, to not be able to develop solid, honest relationships. But yes, there's a whole lot of truth into that wrong teaching and wrongdoing that we're walking around here putting out.
Exactly. Leonard, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, actually, what's on my heart was economic situation, and make sure that people are paying attention to the markets and things like that. But I really am thrown by the right and wrong situation. I mean, it's come on, man. Really?
Come on.
I don't care what happened to you. If you 18, you know it's what's right or wrong. Matter of fact, it don't even take that long. So when people say some people wasn't taught right, you may not have been taught right, but I bet you know what's right. I bet you know what don't feel right.
Come on.
Examine yourself. Because I don't ask other people how I feel. How do you feel? How do you feel about what you're doing or what's going on or what's being done to you? How do you feel about it? And if you can't answer that question honestly, you need to go probably get some type of mental help or counseling or what have you, because you have an issue with reality. You know, it's not whether one person's, you know, it's not this whole thing, whether about religion or anything like that. What is the fruit of this behavior? That's what it is. What is happening because of this behavior? What is going to happen because of the behavior?
Or what is not happening because of this behavior?
Exactly. While people sitting there talking about, well, what's the difference between right and wrong? Why are you asking? That's what I'm interested in. See, because that way I know what type of person you are.
Leonard, are you kind of swayed one way or another, even if they ask that question?
Not
even
really. I'm not.
I'm
not. Long as you're not harming people away, I'm usually we can be cool. I don't care how you believe. I don't care who you screw. I don't care about none of that.
But see, my thing is for a grown person, I'm talking about a grown adult, to even have to come and ask you, well, what is right or wrong? Rico.
Watch game. That's game.
that would I had to look at that person a little quick, and what are you saying? You don't know?
You know,
Let me pray
it's
for
funny that you bring that up because I tell people this all the time, man. Adjectives are so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Words are so powerful. They're simple, but a simple-minded person, well, I put it this way: a person with an agenda can take that simple statement or those simple words and just cause so much confusion.
Mm-hmm.
So Wayne, I'm right, wrong, and you're right, left.
Mm-hmm.
And some lyrics one time. I thought about those lyrics in elementary school. Right, wrong, opposites. Right, left, opposites. Depending on what you want to portray, you determine how the right is used. So now somebody hears the word right. Is depending on their interpretation of how you deliver it. See, it's simple what he said, I'm right, wrong, and you're right, left. How you perceive the right that I'm talking about. That's what he's saying. Even though he was being simple and petty with the lyrics, it was like nurture and rhyme mentality. That goes you to show you how simple-minded we could be and complicated. With just that word, when somebody says right, what do you mean by right? Are you talking about, did I make the right turn?
Mm-hmm.
I'm making the right as far as morally. You get what I'm saying? So people pick and choose what the words, the way they want to come across. Sometimes we use words just to lighten the effect, and then sometimes we'll use words that's equivalent to have more powerful effect. Like the words favor sounds sort of tame. Privilege sounds tame. But when you say advantage, so let's start saying white advantage. Let's stop saying white privilege. When you say white advantage, then people understand a little bit more that that's what it means. For some reason, you have a little bit more advantage in certain situations, not just favor, advantage. See, when you got advantage, it seems like it plays out a whole different way in your mind when you hear that word. And on who uses it and who put it out there, like the media.
Yeah.
You know, I like what Leonard said earlier about, man, it's been a lot of shootings going on. Yeah, there's been a lot of shooting going on. If we brought them all up, they still wouldn't get addressed because the media is going to dictate which one they can sensationalize the best. They're going to put that one out there. That's why I can bring up the man that's been killed down here over 5 years ago and still hasn't gone to trial. I bet ain't nobody in radio land looked up, probably 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 probably looked up Deatrice Barkley. That case is a travesty. He's still in court yet. The word, it ought to be CNN and Fox worthy, but for some reason, these two white men ambushing this black man in his yard and killing him execution style, and standing by recording it, and then being let to go home from the scene of the crime that night, and then the state of Alabama not questioning the witness, which is my father, ain't newsworthy.
Wow.
So it's about sensationalism, and when you're talking about sensationalism and emotion, you start thinking about adjectives and wordplay. So what's the difference between right and wrong? Left.
We got my man put another comment up here. Public citizen, you could call in as well, man. You could give us a call 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Gonna read this right here. Comment on it just a tad, but then we're gonna go to our topic for today. We hadn't even touched our topic yet. It says this, but even the best of us do wrong when we are facing a choice that forces us to sacrifice something from our lives. We aren't perfect. Even the very good people have moral failures. At best, each of us better have some moral base to work from. Leonard, what do you say to that?
Can you hear me, Raheem?
Yes, sir.
I think he makes an excellent point. And this is why some of us seek moral instruction and others don't. Because I believe in people admitting what it is. I mean, if what you like to do don't fall in line with somebody else's point of view, God help you. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to force my opinion on you. I have great morals to live by. Those morals are not secret. and they never have been.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of them you can find in your Christian Bible. You can find them in your Quran. You can
Mm-hmm.
find them in your Talmud. You can find them in various places that many men have used throughout the ages
Come on.
to guide their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I don't have these immature conversations with certain people, because you're trying to run game on me.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to believe
Mm-hmm.
that somehow you don't know what you're doing, I'm not buying that excuse about how you was raised, where you come from, none of that.
Because regardless of where you come from or how you was raised, you still know right from wrong.
You can feel it. You can feel it, and if you can't, I would even say if you can't, there are some people that have a actual mental disability.
Mm-hmm.
But those people are rare,
Mm-hmm.
and they're usually already locked up for their own good right now. But we got some people coming up now that know it's wrong, don't care if it's wrong, and they're gonna do it regardless.
Because is it because I see we go. Is it because they're chasing a bag?
No, it's because what they enjoy. That's what they enjoy.
Wow, enjoy hurting people.
If you enjoy sin, at least have the balls to say it. But don't pretend.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I was reading a lot of scripture this weekend on that issue
Mm-hmm.
about pretending that evil is good and good is evil.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're doing.
Misguided. Go ahead, Rico.
You know, I was going to counter that. I don't think it's new. I think this has been going on. This book I've been reading is Medical Apartheid. Proves it. Way back 300-400 years ago, people were doing experiments and say, you know what, black people can take it because the darker skin allows them to withstand pain a little bit more. Come on.
It's ridiculous.
Y'all really gonna sit back and say that we didn't deserve anesthesia and stuff like that? Our ancestors didn't. They can take their pain threshold is a lot harder. They can withstand it because they're black. So you justify tormenting, terrorizing, and mutilating people, dissecting them in front of people. You know what I'm saying? Amputating limbs because they had scars on them just to prove that you had the prowess to do a good job as a person that does amputate. It's been going on. It's been going on. So is that that mindset they don't know right from wrong is based on hate.
Exactly.
You know, I think I made a comment last week about understanding why people would do that. Then some people was like, man, I don't care why somebody hate me. I don't care why somebody racist, this and that. If you don't know why, then you won't know what you need to do to be prepared for. You won't know how long it's been going on. You won't know when you go to the doctor that the next surgery you may go into may be the opportunity for them to take you out of here and make you another statistic. You don't understand that some people really do just hate you. Or maybe they're envious of you. Maybe they're intimidated by you. Maybe they do feel threatened genetically on some stuff that we don't even think about because of this thing that they have in place about skin color and race and this and that. See, there's a lot of things right and wrong that we don't even, it never probably even crossed our minds from the beginning.
Exactly.
There's a certain culture that came around and now all of a sudden we embrace it. You know what I'm saying? It's unacceptable to think that people don't know right from wrong. They know how it feels to be down and out and hurt and oppressed. You know, it's a bunch of others as you will have them do on you. They read about it before they started having slaves. They knew right from wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
No, I was thinking about the topic, and I gotta pull up which bill it is, but there was a law that's just passed in Arkansas, and it's actually in process of possibly being passed in Texas, where a doctor can deny you service based on religious belief.
Right.
And, looking at that and looking at how they'll be able to, use their freedom. And then looking at the more restrictions of what they consider a protest or words a person can speak. You know, the more I've been thinking about it, you know, for someone that's like me, that's um, and there are people that struggle way more than I do with words and things like that. You know, they'll be using a word thinking that they're using it properly, and then next thing they know, they're in handcuffs because someone took it offensive because they didn't know the new definition or the new slang of what the word means. So just looking at things across the board, you know, in a generalized manner, it's depending on where you live, you know, and the way people's mentalities are and things like that. Being different is getting to where it's not acceptable anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's not just race. I mean, it can even be a disability. It's talking about morals and all that kind of stuff. You know, I always wondered what kind of morals do people have if they're looking at things in that way. You know, where did they learn it from? Which is one of my biggest obsessions of research is, you know, where did it start and why has it continued if people know it's not good?
And Toya, a lot of times what happened is we have to Badger's point, we have to put ourselves in situations or positions and situations where we could unlearn certain things that we've been taught. We have to unlearn them because you know they're not benefiting nobody. What do you say to that?
I agree. Not only do you have to unlearn them, you might have to learn how to undo them too. You know what I mean? Like, what do you tell? Let me say. What do you tell a 20-year-old boy who was raised to not like black people their whole life? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do with that? You know, can you tell them all these racists around here? They know what's wrong. They know what's wrong. But then you gotta want to undo it. You know, just like kind of like me and my anger. God dealt with me. Couldn't nobody else deal with me because I made my own reality. You know what I mean? So the Lord had to work on dealing with me with men, with family, with strangers, with racism, with, you know, there's so many factors, you know, but you have to want to change. You know, you got to want to be vulnerable. You know, one of the biggest things for me, coming from my mentality, you know, I got a dark mentality, you know, oh, we can't trust men, they're molesters. You know, then you take this dark mentality and you can allow that to bend your thinking because that's your environment, you know. But ultimately, and I think Linda said it earlier, when you get a certain age, you ain't come up from under no rock. You know the difference between right and wrong. You know what you should and should not do. You know, so that whole culture thing, man, that's something that at one you're gonna have to want to change as well because it's definitely hard being vulnerable. You know, in order to be in a relationship, you gotta trust. You know, it's like me, that black woman thing that we know for, right? You know, the head snapping and bobbing and weaving and attitude and all that right there, right? I don't like that persona anymore. It was cool, but I don't like that persona anymore. So I am working diligently to not be that. You feel what I'm saying? To go from being raised in Brooklyn to try to act like you want to be living in Beverly Hills. You know what I'm saying? You got to relearn some things. You know what I'm saying? And as women and men, you know, I know we do this. You know, we all do. As children, your parents taking care of you, you got to relearn how not to have your parents take care of you. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree, but I think that ultimately in the heart, you have to want to change. You know, you have to want to be vulnerable. You have to want to make sacrifices of trust and truth in certain relationships for the sake of humanity, man. So, hey.
That's what it is. That's what it is. We're ready to get to our topic. Hold on. Let me post it here. And we're going to start it off with you. Lion is the king of the jungle, the ruler.
Wow.
He's the king of the jungle. That's who he is. He run this thing. And so our question.
You know,
well, you know, Lord, Lord, Lord. Or a lioness. How about that? Queen of the jungle.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
good deal, good
Look, it's
deal.
a hermaphrodite then, 'cause you know how
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. But my thing is this right
Now
here.
that'll come in animal.
How do you silence? How does one silence a lion? And the lion could be um the black man in America.
you
How
would
do you
you would
how do you
him, you
mm-hmm,
please him, you cooperate with him, or you kill him.
mm-hmm,
That's how you shut him up. One of the two. You either gonna cooperate, listen to him, and see what it is that's going on, or you're gonna step him out, so you don't have to hear it anymore. It
mm-hmm.
depends on the person that has the power to address whatever it is that they're talking about. If
Now
that
a true
has more power than that lion, you
now
know,
a true lion is gonna fight.
right? Well, a true lion is not stomped out unless he's attacked by a lot more lions,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the thing is when you say how do you keep him quiet? Like I said, are you trying to keep him quiet to please him so he'll be happy?
Give him some meat.
Trying to silence him.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you want to silence him, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't need to hear his mouth no more. You might want to Patrice Lumumba him. You might want to Nat Turner this man.
Yeah.
You might want to Marcus Garvey this man.
Mm-hmm.
Those type of lines. You might want to Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, or Fred Hampton this man.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't no cooperation, wasn't no pleasing, wasn't no appeasing. None of that went on. It was straight manipulation. You know,
Wow.
let's go demoralize and defecate on these people's names and their reputation. Let's put wiretaps on them and accuse them of being homosexual or being philanderers, cheating on their wives. Let's get all this ammo
This
against
playbook,
these
this playbook, this playbook, Rico, has been played out a lot of times. So why is it when it's put out there? Because it's been played a lot. It's been played a lot. Why is it that even people in the community will believe something like that instead of going and just, hey man, look here, man, they saying this about you, brother. Hey, what's going on?
It's hard to understand where that programming comes from. I mean, I'm one that anytime I go live or anytime I'm on here, I'm telling people, man, second guess everything, question everything. You got to see if there's logic in it for you, because there is a pattern of people that's in power with that money over everything mentality that will manipulate the narrative to make it justifiable for everybody. So you have to dig behind the reason. Once again, like I said with the last comment, some people might say, I don't care why that person don't like black people. I don't care why that person is racist. But once you start digging deep inside and realizing where it comes from, you might understand that you might have to fight it differently. Understand that this isn't coming from the fact that these people just think they're superior to you. It's coming from a fact that really and truly they may be thinking they're inferior to you. They may hate the fact that they don't have any kind of color. I met a woman and her daughter in the mall this past weekend. The tans were so deep, I asked them what country they were from. That's how dark they were, her and her daughter. They had, well, I was like, well, wait a minute now. I think they white, but man, they too dark. They were so dark it didn't look right. It did not look right. And I asked them, I said, what country y'all from? I said, oh, it's tans. Said they were tans. So I mean, if you really dig deep enough to understand the true agenda, the true reasoning behind some of the things that people do, like this legislation. When you look at the true reason why they're coming up with it, then you understand the reason why you should fight. Because if you just take their word for it, then you're gonna sit back and not make that extra effort to go hand out water, or maybe take your own water to the polls, to take your own lunch. You just go, but you know what? They doing it again. I mean, man, it's just the propaganda. That's one reason why you should read between the lines. Propaganda exists.
Look at look. I gotta say it to you. All right, preacher. All right, preacher.
Hey, I'm gonna let you get away with this one, but the next time I'm gonna remind you when it happens again. We're gonna be consistent now.
Exactly. There you go. Leonard, talk to me. How and from your perspective, Leonard, how do you silence a lion?
Well, actually, I'm not interested in silencing a lion
Mm-hmm.
because I believe lions should be lions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when people talk about the most thing that you have to understand about a lion is a lion's strength.
Mm-hmm.
A lion is able to defend itself against every other animal.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Even
not
an
normally going to back down
even an elephant.
when it's outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why lions travel in prides. Only
Mm-hmm.
time lions are usually by themselves is when they're young males.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes they may have one or two other males that ally with him
Mm-hmm.
because they realize they can kill more, take down more, and eat more. You can eat elephants when you got two friends.
Yeah.
Buffaloes don't usually back down. Buffaloes have a reputation for defending themselves against lions very vigorously.
Mm-hmm.
So this notion of lion being the king of the jungle sounds nice to say, but we've almost wiped out the jungle lion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's right.
lions could have been on the verge of extinction.
Mm-hmm.
There are some lions that aren't even here anymore, so they succumb to things as well. But real lions, you can't silence.
Mm-hmm.
Not people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not people. And that's why when the Ethiopians refer to the Lion of Judah,
Come on.
because the Lion of Judah is there that's for the strength, the fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be worthy of the fight.
Ain't no holding back.
Right. So, when people say, how do you silence a lion? Or if he was a real lion, you ain't going to keep him quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You may put him in a cage or what have you. You may be able to tame him.
Mm-hmm.
Or what have you, but that's why you hear these incidents in these zoos and all this. Lion was fine; he was a good guy, and we pet him, and next thing you know, he had his you by the throat.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's a lion.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets ready to do what he want to do, he's gonna do that.
Exactly. And to put him in a cage, if you don't have that tranquilizer, you're gonna have a hard time getting
You're
him.
gonna have a hard time then too. You ain't gonna want to be in there with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I got a story behind it. I had a Rottweiler, man. People couldn't get in the cage with. So I know good and well you ain't getting in there with a lion. Tell you with a T talk to me. How do you silence a lion?
Well, that's the only way you can silence a lion, right? To kill him.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to get him distracted, throw him a piece of meat. Lions, animals can't really, break down things or process things the way humans do mentally. So you probably be able to trick them, trick them in the back door or something like that. But other than that, hey, you're going to take them out. If you don't, it's nothing you can do. A lion is too much. It's the king of the jungle for a reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be equipped. Hey, I feel like, when I think about the circus and Sigmund and Freud, the power of humanity, the power of those people who decided to go and learn how to tame and take the courage and the strength and use whatever, tranquilizing rocks, lock them up, feed them, whatever they had to do. They took on their feet to try to control and maintain the actions of what is so-called the strongest king in the jungle. You know what I mean? And if we compare that to people, people are lying at heart. I don't think that you can only say that with, like you said, black men. I think it can be used, with black women too. The spirit of lion, and everybody don't have that. Everybody ain't got lion spirits. Everybody don't have king of the jungle, queen of the jungle spirits. Some of these folks are hyenas around here, and it don't even make a difference. But the only way, either way it goes, no matter what you're dealing with, the only way to silence it for good, is kill it. I think that's this thing we have as humans when we want to make another living thing do what we want it to do, then we got to go back and cultivate different ways we could make this other living thing do what we want it to do, whether it be an animal, whether it be a kid, whether it be a spouse. You know what I'm saying? We just got this fascination with making another living something do what we want it to do, and it can be done, whether it be by force, whether we kill it, whether we coerce it or coax it. You know, that's just this. I don't know, this human thing we got about control and about having dominion that I think we kind of use misguidedly. But the only way to stop lying, it depends on if you want to do it for good. Like I said, you say you're going to kill it. If you want to shut it down for a little while, then you know you got to tranquilize it. And that means the distraction in some kind of way.
Exactly. Badger, what do you say to that? How do you silence a lion?
Man, well, if you're talking about the generalized comments that, you know, groups of people use, you know, you take away protest, you take away freedom of speech, and I mean that can work pretty well. If you're talking about the animal, I mean, for the most part, they've already done that in nature by using what's called a gun, because they're too afraid to actually fight it toe to toe, or, you know, hand to claw, or whatever terminology a person wants to use. You know, so I find it, you know, the topic for today interesting, because most of what we were talking about earlier can kind of fit in that question. How do you silence a lion? You know, I had someone, there's another Twitch YouTuber and stuff that I watch, and they're like, Badger, you're a lion. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, because I'm not a lion, I'm a badger. You know, and but there's multiple reasons for that, you know. When it boils down to it, you know, it's how you approach life, how you look at things, you know. And speaking from, like, you know, the teachings I grew up with and the native stuff, you know, where you can consider it like a totem, or, you know, a lot of people that are associated with an animal usually has how do you pronounce that?
Characteristics.
Yeah. That they portray in their everyday life that can, you know, to other people, can remind them of an animal or something, and then nature's something in nature.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, brother. Finish it out.
So, I like what Public Citizen said. Pretty much is what I was getting at. You know, you distract them, you give them drugs, you try to change what the lion's fighting for. You know, so it's, to me, it boils down to how a person chooses to embody what the lion represents, or what it means.
Exactly.
And, you know, the biggest question I'd ask somebody is, do you truly understand what it means to embody that spirit?
Rico, read that for me, brother.
In my mind, the lion is the average working man / woman. If you want to silence a lion, drug him, get him distracted with nonsense, and get him to fight his own kind.
Speak to it, Rico.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you know, you can manipulate the programming. You know, you could go back to that word I said earlier. Where you have advantage, you're gonna have disadvantage. And sometimes when you put a person at a disadvantage, then they have to start doing some very strange things to survive or to cope with their situation. They have to resort to different tactics that people with advantage don't have to resort to. They have to go outside. When they go outside and play, they have to make mud pies. That's funny. I thought about that yesterday. I was like, man, time has come a long way. I can remember when I was young and all my aunties would want to go outside and they would say, come on, y'all, let's go make some mud pies. And I thought about how just simple and poor that was. The to find entertainment, to go outside in the rain or after it rain, get a bunch of dirt and mud and make piles, and you pat them together, and your imagination finds fun out of that. But you got to work what you got to work with. So you can be manipulated, you can be oppressed, you can be sabotaged, you can be tricked and deceived. You can just be misprogrammed. There's so many different ways that it can work. They public citizen associated it with the working man, and I associated it with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. It can go so many different ways. It's just a tactic that people use to get their agenda across. Even if it's a lion, even if it's an elephant, you name it, even a shark. Sometimes they put bait out there. They study you, learn what it is you like, then they set you up to come get it. Oh, you thought it was gonna be easy, huh? Thought it'd come on and get it, but there's something here waiting on you. You don't want to hunt for it yourself. We're gonna make things more convenient for you. How about we do that? How about we get you dependent on us for your food, your electricity, all that, all your survival? If we get you dependent on that, then we got you. We can silence these lions. We can silence that whole movement.
Yeah.
So, it's so many different ways, in different ways you want to interpret a lion being silenced. It's depending on who or what the lion is, or what kind of power that lion has, what they're trying to accomplish. Determine how to silence.
Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, what do you say to that? What do you say to that comment?
What comment?
The one that public citizen I put up there, right there.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't believe a lion is average. A lion's not average.
What sets them apart? For the sake of the listeners,
a lion is bold by nature. A lion is not easily set aside. A lion pretty much eats the same thing majority of the time, does the same thing the majority of the time, and insists on you respecting his territory. He's a lion till he dies.
Yes.
So it's not something you turn on and off.
Then he become a dead lion.
It's not something you turn on and off. You choose to do on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever you choose. Lions are lions every day, all the time.
Come on.
It's not like one. You're not gonna have a relationship too much with a lion unless you go in the same way, unless you on the same agenda. Because lions insist on that. We're about one thing, and we are together in this. This is how we survive together. So it's good to compare. Like Badger, I like Badger. Is a great example. He's a badger, not a lion. He's not pretending to be a lion. He's not a badger pretending to be a lion or anything like. He's a badger. So he knows about lions, but he's still a badger.
Would you say you're a lion, Leonard?
To a point. Okay.
Reason why I say, because in your verbiage you say we and we and we. You using the we a lot. I would say, okay, you putting yourself in that category. Okay.
I behave the same way. A lot of the majority of the time on many issues. I don't usually sway back and forth. I have a mission and a goal and an objective. So I'm not waiting to be turned either way.
Okay. That's good. Toya with a T, are you a lioness? Toya?
Oh, you did say Toya.
Yes.
You said, am I a lioness? Absolutely, honey. I'm already, I could say I'm a bull, right? Or a Taurus or something like that. Right now, I'm already being a lion. King of the jungle, queen of the jungle. Come on, man. I'm all about that. I'm all about power. I'm all about protection. Don't get me wrong. The entire jungle is important. Every little thing is important in the jungle. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm not mad being the king of the queens. I've always liked positions of power. I've always wanted to step up to be a leader because I didn't like what was being done. So Of course, I'm gonna go for being a lion. That's something so I can prowl around and make sure everybody doing what they supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm gonna walk with integrity. I'm gonna protect others. I'm gonna go get the food. Go ahead and make sure I hold it down. At the end of the day, it don't make no difference. Anybody can get it. Another lion can get it. A cheetah, a tiger, you name it. Run up on me, you can get it. But yeah, of course, I'm on with being a lion.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
And you know what, Raheem? Before
Yes,
you
sir.
go, I just wanted to add, and because you know when we start saying things that we love to say, like lion is the king of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a little boy, I used to always lions don't usually live in the jungle, usually.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering always, why would people say lions are the king of the jungle?
Mm-hmm.
So at one point, maybe lions used to really live in the jungle more so.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about lions, lions are usually on open plains and things of that nature, and that's how where they usually roam. Like I said, many of the jungle lions, I believe, even the Jerusalem the lion that was popular to talk about in Jerusalem. A lot of these lions are almost extinct,
Mm-hmm.
I think. But I've rarely heard of lions being in the jungle, but it's popular to say.
Is it like a metaphor?
I think so. I think that may be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know it sounds a lot of people like to put it in songs and stuff.
Yeah.
But there were different types of lions that, you know, lived in the jungle or what have you. And that's why I was making that relationship towards badger.
Mm-hmm.
Because in badger's culture, this particular animal means a lot to him to
Mm-hmm.
be characterized as a badger, just as we are more familiar with one lion, the Lion of Judah.
Yes.
The Lion of Judah is not actually a lion.
Mm-hmm.
It is a person
Mm-hmm.
that fights for Judah.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we have to remember. Like when we say these types of cliches, are we really referring to people or actual lions?
Mm-hmm.
And because we have to remember, the biggest predator in the world is the person. That's the biggest danger to lions.
Mm-hmm.
People are the biggest danger to lions.
That evil human being.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing right there. That evil human being. Badger, you said you're not a lion. You're a badger.
Yep.
But can you do you think you have some attributes of a lion
Nope.
being a badger?
Nope.
Why not?
Because a badger can take on a lion and make him run.
Mm-hmm.
I am who I am. I'm not going to claim to be something I'm not.
So the badger should be the king of the jungle if he can make that lion run.
No, badger just wants to be left alone, and he's kind of a hermit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to be king of anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's not going to let people bully him either.
Mm-hmm. He gonna fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 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 That's
Every
good.
like I was just looking it up because I was having to refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lions were associated with kings and stuff. And, you know, based on older definitions, you know, jungle meant something different than it does now.
Mm-hmm.
So originally, from my understanding, you know, through research and things like that I've done on animals and representations, is they were originally along the lines of king of beasts, because lions could be seen taking down elephants and all kinds of other animals and things like that. So the king of the jungle thing came from I have to look it up, hold on. The word jungle comes from the Hindu word jangala, that refers to any location that's not inhabited by humans.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in long time ago, since they were called, you know, like King of Beasts, and then it became King of Jungle based on an older terminology. of a word, you know, it progressed into what that saying is today and the way people want to interpret it.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Rico, we're talking about silencing a lion, the king of the jungle, the one that has the big mane on it and roars, and you can hear it for miles when he roars. But we're talking about silencing him. How do we get that? How do we get that roar? How do we kill the roar?
I mean, I don't really think I can go too far different than what I said earlier. Like I said, you either bait them, help keep him from hunting, give him what he want to eat. You go kill it, bring it to him, and let him eat it. Or you go out and have your safari, have your manhunt. Go out there and hunt. You know, you might want to trophy hunt some lions. You want to silence them, go out there and trophy hunt the biggest, baddest one and put his head on your mount. Ain't no lion. I'm a human being. You know what I'm saying? Now, some of the attributes of a lion does exist in all kind of other animals, and great white shark. You know what I'm saying? It's the mentality to survive. You know, to conquer or to destroy when needed. You know, I won't say I'm a lion. I won't say I'm a great white shark, but I got the same dominant attributes that they have as a man. I dominate them if I choose to. Now, if I get an element, they could dominate me. Let them kiss me.
Now, let's stay right there for a second, because you say you're a man, but some attributes of the lion and the great white shark. So here in America, what is the attempt to silence you or someone like you?
To make you feel like you don't. To make you feel like that you're less than, inferior, that you don't have that type of power. The last thing you need to let your son see. The last thing that your wife needs to feel when she's married to you, that you're not a great white shark, or that you don't have the attributes of a lion. Now, not a great white shark, that you aren't a man with the intensity and the aggression of a great white shark to do what you need to do if need be. You know, they want to take that, I don't want to call it aggression, but that courage away from you. So, Wizard of Oz is probably the best time to bring this up.
Yeah.
You're the best one at that, because you like to use that as a reference. So this is the time to actually probably bring that up, about the bravery and the courage of that cowardly lion, what it lacked, and what the wicked did to take that courage from that lion. That lion didn't know who he was, what it was, or what it was supposed to do, what its purpose was. So now, as a man, if you have that taken from you and you don't realize what you're supposed to do, you're gonna be running around here doing all kind of other strange things that don't even know what the job is. So you got to keep those attributes. You know what the job of the lion. The other lion is to protect, provide, and defend. I mean, there's just so many different things that you have to take on, and also to be courageous. Like I said, and brave. You can't protect and provide for somebody when you're ready to be submissive all the time. But if you can be tricked into being submissive, man, I don't want to fight. I don't want no problems. Leave me alone. Just let me be in peace, and I'll be okay. You can do what you want to do. That ain't what you're supposed to be about. But the system has been utilized to make that happen amongst men.
Wow. Leonard.
Yes, sir.
You are if it is said that you are a lion and have a mighty roar, how is America trying to silence you or someone like you?
Well, I'm not sure. You know, I'm trying to think of any situations I've permanently been in. I think somebody asked me not to say certain things one time before. I don't speak for them anymore. I don't care nothing about how you feel or whatever. You know, I tell you what, I won't speak for you anymore. You know, I like Public Citizen's comment, made a comment sort of related to what you're asking about being a lion all day. If you're not a lion. Everybody's not a lion.
Yeah.
I have to be a lion all day because that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it because you don't like it that I'm a lion. That is not my problem. So if you have a problem with lions, then you're going to have to come up with a way to fight. Like, a lot of people, I understand what Rico was talking about is regarding the jail or whatever, but those guys still were about the same mission, even though they were in jail.
Mm-hmm.
King wrote from jail. A lot of guys that have been put in jail who have gone against it, they're still those people today. If you read their books, if you watch their interviews that are still here, they're still the same way because they're committed to what they're doing. That's just who they are. And it's not to make people feel bad, but some people are just weak. They don't believe in, they'll just, instead of defending themselves, they'll run away sometimes. They'll pretend things aren't happening, or they won't say anything. And they'll just seek the protection and hide behind whatever they can hide behind and go along to get along. So everybody's not a lion. It's not for everybody to be lions.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, that people talk about, I want to be a lion because he's the king of the jungle. Well, so what? He can starve to death too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
See, I think people associate with lion with being the king because, as Badger, I think, was implying that lions usually were associated with courage and strength and kings. So this is where that comes from, because lions are very bold. They're usually not going to lay down for you.
No.
They're usually not going to go along with everything you got to say. And they prefer a certain way. And they're about a lion's business. They ain't sitting around lying on people and all this other kind of lying and lying. That's funny, huh? They ain't sitting around lying on people, trying to discredit them or what have you. It's one thing. It's strength and courage. That's more so what a lion is about. He ain't trying to prove to you. All he wants is his space. And he's fine. Yeah. He has a basic diet. He ain't gonna be over here, well, you know what? I'm gonna be a vegetarian today. He uses everything. He eats whatever he wants. He don't usually take orders from people. If you don't want to, like Buck Badger, he's a badger because he ain't trying to be the king or nothing. He does what he represents himself with that badger for that reason, and he explained to you those characteristics of the badger that match his characteristic, what he likes. Yeah. So if you don't identify with a lion, you ain't a lion.
Exactly. Now, Toya with the T, let me ask you this question. Rico, come to you next. A lion is a lion. Gonna be a lion. That's what he is. But can that alley cat in certain situations present itself as a lion through courage and doing the things that they have to do to survive? Toya with a T, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep. Rico, speak to that, Rico. Can an alley cat present itself as a lion?
You talking about like a stray cat?
Yeah.
That's a stray cat we see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, there ain't nothing they can do with that, man. I mean, they don't even relate.
Man, look at that. I'm gonna tell you something. I've seen this happen. You get a cat in a corner with a broom. That cat coming out that corner now.
Oh yeah. But I don't think you're gonna catch a cat in the corner with a lion.
It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna
do something dirty right there. I don't think you're gonna see that right there. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to expect the alley cat to be able to do that unless that alley cat had a gun, or had an antelope or something that they could feed it and bait it up with. You know what I'm saying? But that mentality, it won't even be able to get to the same room with the lion.
What I was speaking about is the courage, him having the courage to fight and to come out of that corner. Naturally we know he's not gonna be a lion, but if you get him in that corner with that broom, he's gonna come out that corner. He's gonna fight to preserve himself.
Still, sometimes it just you can't fight. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do nothing against an elephant one-on-one. I wouldn't care what gun I had. I better be a sharpshooter, and I better have a big gun, and I better have the advantage. Cause on even ground, it ain't no even ground we could be on without me having those things. That thing with a lion and an alley cat, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that alley cat, it just ain't got enough weight. Got enough teeth, it ain't got enough vicious. So that it's nothing that alley cat could do but entertain that lion.
Okay. The letter public citizen said this here. He said, I don't agree that some people are lions and some are not. We are all lions as needed.
Everybody want to be kings, but some are not. Everybody hollering king and queen. That really ain't how monarchy works. Kings kill people. Kings force people to submit. They aren't always good people. Some of them are tyrants. So it's simply based on badger is a badger. That's what what's common now in the movies is the animal spirit. Badger can probably help me with the terminology they use in a lot of the fiction now, where the child or a human being has an animal spirit with them.
Usually it's the word usage is usually like a totem.
Yeah, something like that. And so this particular animal is their spirit animal. And it's a lot in other religions and also in nature, also in martial arts and everything. Where the spirit of the animal, that what you would call the animal spirit or characteristic really of being. If you're like a lion, that means you're bold and courageous. Remember, the ant used to be a big thing back in the day because an ant was so industrious and was a builder. Everything, everybody can't be the same thing. That's why we have so much diversity in nature. Everything has to have a purpose. It's not meant for everyone to be a lion, because if everyone was a lion, you'd probably kill one another.
I think one of the things he's talking about is again, I'm going back to like you said, the characteristics. We all have the characteristics of a lion.
Or like some people may have the characteristic of a snake.
Yeah, absolutely.
You try to start, you're a snake. We have certain characteristics that we attribute to people being snakes. Or the popular term goat. And things of that nature. So we've been using animals to symbolize certain things that we wish to be or not wish to be. Some people will say, call you a monkey. That's pretty offensive. But are monkeys offended? No. Monkeys aren't offended if you call them monkeys.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's the characteristics that we attach to certain things. So when people say, if you say you a bull, that's what I'm expecting. If you identify yourself, that's why I know how to work with Badger, because he represents his characteristics as a badger. I know how to deal with a badger.
Good deal. Toy, you want to take you back with us? Toya, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep. Badger, talk to me, brother.
I missed the last part of what Leonard said.
Well, the last thing I said was by you being a badger and representing yourself as a badger, I know how to deal with you because I know about badgers.
Yeah, don't corner us. It never works out for the best.
Exactly. You almost have to. in order to get a badger to do anything.
Hmm.
You have to back it into a corner first. But if
Badgers,
it can escape, it'll try.
badgers are tenacious. They don't really like to grunt or growl or anything. They go about eating. When they have to work with others, they can. They're not very prideful or anything. They are what they are. Um, I don't rely on being prideful. I don't, my strength is my strength. I've got a tough skin. It doesn't matter how much someone beats me up or shoots me or stabs me or whatever. I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep walking at you if I have to. Lions rely on a pride, a group to take down their prey and things like that. Badgers don't. Badgers fight things solitary. And when they need to work with people, they do. So, like, I can understand to a degree what Public Citizen's saying, yet at the same time, this is an area I've done a lot of research in, and it's part of my culture. There's people that symbolize different things. There's people that symbolize that, pretty much live their lives like how wolves do, or ants, or praying mantis, or different birds and what they represent. And it's funny, if you do enough research and you start comparing different belief systems, most of the animals have really almost identical representations as saints and angels. So, like, I'm agreeing with Leonard about having an inner lion. Martial arts taught me how to find my inner beast and learn how to control him. My inner beast is a badger, and the reason I keep harping on that is everyone can't be a lion. It just won't work. Because people are individuals. If I try to act like a lion, I'm not going to get it or understand it because that's not my personality type. I'm pretty huh?
If you have a team, let's say a football team that come together, and you have the whole squad is there. Y'all about to go start practicing for the first time, but everybody on the team want to be the quarterback. How successful is that team gonna be?
It's not. There's going to be one person that's going to be able to throw the ball more accurately, farther, longer, faster than the rest. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being your own person. I never understood the concept of everyone wanting to be the same thing. Outside of the logic of, the group, the hive mind mentality. So, but people, to me, also don't understand that other animals can also have their strengths and have their purpose. Like me, the reason I am the way I am is when I do run across someone that's a lion, and I actually, they back me into a corner, I can fight back and put them in their place.
That's good. That's good. Rico, what do you say to that?
I love going out observing nature. I love birds, man. I see turkey and deer every day that I get out and walk. The main thing I like about observing nature is noticing how much we have in common. All animals have certain natural behaviors and characteristics and instincts in common. I could see the relationship between a sparrow chasing a crow and how it relates to otters being able to defeat alligators and crocodiles. But we have a perception in our mind that some species are dominant. It's perception. It's a key word. Even with the lion, let me say that earlier. We got the perception that the lion is the king of all beasts.
Yes.
But we know them well. Them things cannot mess with an elephant. They can't mess with an elephant. They get too close to that edge of that water, that crocodile got something for them. So it's just a matter of understanding Like I said, when I observe this nature, I watch sparrows chase crows every day. A sparrow and a crow, defeating the bigger bird. Not a group of sparrows, one sparrow. And so, you know, I look at that behavior. I look at how fish act. You know, I watch an Animal Planet, man, and the reason why I like to watch it is to see the relationships between all animals, what we have in common with them. So, yeah, I do believe that all of us have that inner lion in us because we associate that word lion with courage and bravery. You know, some people have jackal and weasel all up in them. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of weasels out here, a lot of chickens, a lot of chickens. So, you know what I'm saying? You got fish, got some gullible fish. But in some ways, when you see how animals behave, you understand that we are animals too. We just have more intelligence. We've been gifted, you know what I'm saying? So I just think that that's one thing that we have to realize is that we do have a lot in common with the whole animal kingdom because we are related to some extent with instinct and behavior, characteristics. And some people won't look at that. Some people won't, they will never be able to relate themselves to the nature of an animal. But deep down inside, if you know what if you know human behavior, you can associate that. I mean, I do it all the time. I go outside, man. Every time I walk, I'm just like, man, I love this, listening to the birds chirp. Every role that every animal has to play. The thing is you know what human is realizing their role.
Exactly. That's good. Leonard,
Yes, sir.
we're
You hear
talking
me?
about
Okay.
yes. We're talking about right now we're transition where we're talking about role plays. And in the animal kingdom, you know, though we're talking about the lion, every animal has a role to play in the animal kingdom to make it what it is. If you was to say and I know that you said I'm trying to get my verbiage right on this particular question.
You
But
about
if
to
you
mess up right here, ain't you? You about to mess up. Go ahead.
yeah, slightly. Slightly. But if we took that verbiage out about the lion being the king of the jungle, what would be the structure in that kingdom?
Well, first of all, the lion doesn't rule the jungle. That's what we like to say. You know, he can probably remember the lion gets given his credit because in a fight it usually wins. You know, it's not, you know, it's used to symbolize courage, like my name, for instance. It don't matter. Ever since I was a kid, it don't matter where I can go to another country. And you know what they'll say? Leo the lion, Leonard the lion-hearted, because that's what my name means to some people. So it's about, and that was my dad's name as well. And that's what my son's name is. So we try to instill those characteristics of lions in my sons. You know, it shouldn't be to where one we're saying that like a public citizen, everyone is a lion. Then what would lions eat? If everyone was a lion, what would they eat? They got to eat. They eat live things usually. So something has to feed the lion, right? So we have to think of it that way instead of always, you know, that arrogant side of us that want the king of this, blah, blah, blah. But the king got to prove it. See, some of y'all just want to be called kings, but you can't prove it. And that's the problem. Can you prove what you say? You say you're a Christian, but you act just like the devil. You know, there's some people that swear they're Christians. They would be willing to bet all their money they're Christians. But they got a problem if Christ is black. It's a dilemma. Lions have dilemmas, just like everybody else. But one thing the lion is not trying to do, the lion ain't trying to pretend to be anything else but a lion. Most of these people be shape-shifting on you. You know what I'm saying? They don't stand on anything. They could be different from day to day. Like, I don't know the difference between right or wrong. All that tells me is that you do wrong every day because you don't know. And you don't want to take no accountability for nothing or what have you. I take accountability for what things that I do and the things that I say. If you come to me, I heard you said, no, this is exactly what I said.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to put my foot in you. If you say anything like, well, you said, no, I didn't. I'm almost sure I didn't say that. Matter of fact, play it back.
Show me the receipt.
Yeah. So it's, some people may view you and call you, may, like say, for instance, somebody may see Raheem and say, you know what, Raheem, you an alley cat. You act like an alley cat.
Good Lord.
They're not saying you are an alley cat. They say you act like an alley cat because they've seen alley cats do the things that you do. So that's why they called you an alley cat. If you see me do lion things, that makes me a lion. See, lions don't sit in the corner and don't say nothing. Lions don't just go along with the program.
Just to go along.
Lions don't make excuses for their behavior. Because they behave like lions. And they don't have to make an excuse for that.
You see that, Rico?
So we really identify with lions because of their teeth and their paws and their prowess and all that type of thing. But lions chill a lot too. Lions rest a lot. Matter of fact, male lions depend on female lions in prides. Male lions will come along to a new pride and kill all of the other babies that they did not make and establish themselves as king. If you're not in the way, if you're not standing up, if you're not fighting for what's right, you are not a lion.
I want to add something to that real quick. Just a question.
Sure.
You know, people are talking about being a lion and stuff, and something I've asked people, what kind of lion are you? Because like you just brought up, you know, other male lions that come in and kill all the cubs and kill the other male lion to take over the pride and all that other stuff. Yet, you know, are you one of those, or are you one of those that actually defend the sick and the weak and, you know, all that?
Put it like, yeah, to a certain extent, yes, because I never wanted to be in a relationship with a woman with children.
See,
that question wasn't just for you. It was.
Oh, okay, but personally, that's one thing about me.
To me, that situation is, well, you have to realize you have to draw the line as human beings and say, well, you know what, that's the reason why I can't associate that.
Right.
Lions it's not in their natural instinct to not want to preserve their legacy or look at the legacy of another offspring as an enemy or maybe a future threat. You know, it's just natural to them to do that. You know what I'm saying? So we can never assume that morally because we have a God figure that we look to. We have morals and stuff on. We have religion, all these different things. We have the intelligent design, consciousness within us that would allow us to say, man, don't kill that man, baby, just because it ain't yours. You know, now don't get me wrong. You might make the decision to say, I don't want to have a woman that I got to raise another man's son for whatever reason. But these situations are reasons why you have to make sure that you draw the line on the question that Leonard asked. Not Leonard asked, but Raheem asked, how do you silence a lion? See, you know, it gets to a point where sometimes we just keep on saying, well, I'm a lion, I'm a shark, I'm a badger, we keep saying this, but really and truly, those hypotheticals can go too far.
Right,
you know,
because these are characteristics.
We often talk about the traits.
Yes.
And so if we actually just refer to the traits, it probably would be understood better and make more sense to the listening people on the outside to understand that you're saying, you know what, I am just ferocious as a lion. I'm just ferocious as a badger.
Right.
Because really truly, you can't associate all those together. You know, I think about,
and that's what I was getting at.
Silence a lion, though. Speaking on the question that he did ask, if you did want to silence one, you could also take it out of its element, put it in a strange environment. If you put that line in a strange environment, first off, it's going to react. But if it's in an environment where it isn't dominant, then you can make him act accordingly. You can train him and program. That's why you have docile lions. You have people now walking around with lions in their home, just roll up with them and playing with them like they're big old dogs, because they've been taken out of their element. They don't know their natural instinct anymore. Somewhere it's in now. They do turn sometimes, but for the most part, when you are when you've been taken out of the element where you are the dominant species, that's how you can silence it. You can silence any lion once you take them out of their element, out of their environment. If somebody came from another planet right now and landed on here, but they landed on Earth, but they didn't have all the technology that was dominant over us, we're gonna be dominant over that alien. So that's how you silence a lion or any other animal, any great white shark or whatever. You silence it just by taking it out of its element. If you don't want to kill it, now if you're immoral and inhumane, then you probably just gonna slaughter it like King Leopold. Like going on a rampage like the Nazis did, or you might do like the colonizers that, chose to buck, break, and kill and feed black babies to alligators. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't have no moral culpability about themselves, and they decided to be barbaric. They decided to be savage. They might have considered themselves lions, and that was quite animalistic that they did that. You back, Raheem?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Where y'all at?
We're still talking about the question. I was saying that if you also want to take it, if you want to silence a lion, you can take him out of his element, take him out of his environment, put him in a strange place where he isn't dominant. You can silence him, and you can also change him.
Is that pretty much how they did the black men in America?
You hit it on the head.
Yes, sir. And so that's how they did, because they brought him here to America. And as a matter of fact, Toy, you want to tee you back with us? Toy, you must have fell asleep over there. Leonard, what do you say to that, man? Take him out of his element, take him to a strange land where he don't know how to exist in that land. Are you silencing him?
Still a lion.
Mm-hmm.
Still a lion.
Mm-hmm.
He's his characteristic. You have lions that are trained, that have been raised in captivity, that view human beings as friends. They don't equate human beings with danger because they were raised by hand by people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different type of lion. That's if we're really talking about lions.
Mm-hmm.
People are different. People behave differently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so much sure. I'm more about individuals and things like that. I don't believe everybody has anything to say or want to bring attention to themselves. Some people just have different spirits.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that all people are the same or should be the same. Some people think that I'm just a certain way, when really I'm just about protecting myself and my family. I believe in perseverance. I believe in people are the same to me.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I don't value a lion over an elephant.
Mm-hmm. Or a tiger.
Or a tiger. They all are animals. They all live in the animal kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we don't want to go too far where we take away our humanness and exchange it for animal-like behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Badger, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to come and get you right now and say, look here, we're gonna take a trip, man. Naturally you can ask where we're going. Don't worry about it. What I need to bring with me, nothing. Just come on, let's go. And next thing you know, we're landing a plane in China.
Mm-hmm.
And I say I'm gonna leave you here, man. I'll be back for you later at some other point. How long would it, and you don't know any Chinese. I don't think you know any Chinese. I guess I'm assuming. But if you don't know any Chinese, how long would it take you to adapt and be able to survive the way that you do here, there?
Probably 24 hours.
That's a good question too, especially if you the king, say that you the
Yeah.
king of pride.
Come on. Exactly.
Well, that's my thing. I
Mhm.
wouldn't even try that. I'd focus on survival. I'd probably figure out how to work with them and figure out how to get back home. Like my personality isn't like that.
Mhm.
I don't try to lead anything. That,
But Badger,
those aren't my personality traits.
I think the first element, the first issue that you will encounter in a situation like that is not knowing how to speak the language. I mean,
Man,
how
I barely know how to speak English. So what would be the difference? What I do have is my attitude
Mhm.
and how I carry
That was
myself.
a good one, Badger.
If
That
I
was a good.
walk up to somebody and put my hands out, I'm pretty sure that's universal for food, please.
Mhm.
Like, there are ways to talk.
Mhm.
Not everything relies on words. Sometimes actions will speak so much louder than any word ever could.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's why I'm saying it wouldn't take me long. Because I've been in around people that speak different, and I can't speak Spanish, but I can go in the middle of a Spanish crowd and survive
Mhm.
without even having to speak a word of the language, just by body language alone.
Okay.
So I think it's a mindset.
Mhm.
I wouldn't think I'm better than them or anything. That's just
Okay.
not my personalities.
I can agree with you there, but let me watch this, Rico. What do you say to that? How long would it take you to? I drop you off right there in the middle of China, and I say, I'll be back. You don't have anything. You didn't pack anything. You just came as you were. How long would it take you to adapt
I
over there?
really say how long it would take me to adapt, but I know that it would be a certain mindset that would take over me to start trying to find a way to start get some type of understanding. If I,
Mm-hmm.
if I could, the first thing I can start latching on to the well, okay, I understand what that means. Then I'm gonna go from there. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
don't try to find something you can understand, then you're just gonna be walking around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah.
So first off, you got to understand something. Even if it's going to find a restroom and you start saying, well, okay, well, that word must mean male. That word must mean female. So now
Mm-hmm.
you walk around, you're gonna look. I mean, you got to find a way to adapt and survive. And you're gonna have to be humble because
Mm-hmm.
everything ain't gonna come to you just as easy like it was when you was king. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you was
Mm-hmm.
king of the pride. You know,
Yeah.
all you had to dole out orders. You the supervisor of the boss. You know, say,
Do you say
now
King? Do you
mark
say
this
King?
and bring me this and get out there and work like this and you're
Yeah.
fired. But now all of a sudden you go over here, man, and you at everybody else's wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Be humble now. You
Mm-hmm.
need some help. You need some compassion. You need somebody to be concerned about you because you lost. You don't know
Yeah.
nothing about this stuff over here. And you're
Yeah.
black in China.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got to do, you got to find somebody with some kind of compassion. You got to look in somebody's eyes and dig a little deeper into humanity and look in somebody's eyes and say, you know what, I can look and tell that they know I'm lost and they want to help me.
Mm-hmm.
Meet that person that'll come up to you and say, hey man, I know you looking lost. I speak English. What can I
Mm-hmm.
help you with?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Man,
you just can't be
I
able
need
to
a
run around and
chicken
sound
sandwich
like you
or
know
something.
what's going on.
Man, I need a chicken sandwich or something, man. Look, I'm
You know,
hungry, man. I'm hungry in the mug, man. Hungry in the
that's what you're
mug over
talking
here,
about.
boy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Leonard, how long would it take you to adapt to that lifestyle and be able to survive?
Where you said China.
Yes, sir.
It take a little while, about as long as it took me to adapt to Georgia, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I've been overseas and everything, and one of the things I used to love to do is just to get on the train and go somewhere I ain't never been. I used to hitchhike and backpack in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's interesting to me how we can communicate even when we don't know the same language.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it was just okay if I'm on a certain road. I know which way to go on that road. I know the cities that may be along that route. And if somebody going that way, I may ride with them just that way. I know enough to tell them the name of the city and they'll say, come on. Or reading, I learned to read train. If you go to the German train station, these huge boards and things like with all these different, it tells you if your train serves dinner, it's a super train or not, and all that. That is very interesting, but it's all trial and error, and you learn things along the way. So I'm good at adapting. I may be good at adapting more than some people. Some people, if they couldn't eat meat, they would have a fit.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me, man, I don't think I could leave the meat alone like you leave it alone. I was like, well, I mean, I've been doing it for a while. But just like you, I had a starting point. So I don't attribute certain things to everybody, which is why you have to be very careful with always attributing things to animals or what have you, because you are a human being. You are at the top of the food chain. You have a higher reasoning ability than an animal, so you shouldn't be behaving like an animal. It's great to have you pick out the certain characteristics of the animal that you like. I certainly don't walk around pissing on trees. You understand? So we shouldn't get carried away one way or the other, but understand that it's the balance. It's a balance. If we see animals do things and we're like, hey, we've applied a lot of that to our own building and things.
Yeah.
But think about all of the things that human beings create, which is example of our higher abilities than animals. So sometimes we say people acting like this or acting like that. Like I use the symbol of the monkeys or whatever. Why do we say they're acting like monkeys, and why did monkeys become derogatory and blah, 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 when some people even believe everybody evolved from apes and monkeys? When did it become so derogatory to be referred to as a monkey? It's because of how they used it. And the things that we attach to these words, like Badger was mentioning. He barely good with English, yet alone trying to, tackle something else. But I believe that everybody should know who they are.
Yeah.
And I know it's this movement. Well, I'm going to tell you who you are. You can't tell me who I am. You can't. Because you don't know me. So you can't tell me who I am. And a lot of people are looking for somebody to create themselves. That's not good. That's not good. And so even when we talk about, a person's truth or whatever. Is that what they call it?
Yes.
I'm a girl. Yeah, you don't look like a girl. I don't know too many women that produce sperm.
No.
I really don't. I don't. Do you know any?
None.
Rico, how many eggs you got?
I ain't got no eggs or ovaries.
Not one, do you? Okay, don't play games with people, man. I'm just saying.
I was talking to. I don't know if I should bring this up, but
don't bring it up, there. Well, don't bring it in.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
If you can't finish it, don't start
it. I was talking to this young lady, and she lived in an alternative lifestyle. And
well, what alternative is that?
Well, she say she categorizes herself as the lesbian.
Okay, because I live an alternative lifestyle.
Yeah, she identifies herself as lesbian.
I identify myself a certain way too.
I thought you were about to say you identify yourself as lesbian too.
I don't eat a lot of meat. And I don't eat a lot of meat and everything, and but because it's a Christian radio show.
You're going somewhere, Leonard. You're going somewhere. You're going somewhere, Leonard.
Anyway, go ahead, Raheem.
No, ain't
Go ahead with what you were saying, Raheem, about your lesbian friend. Go ahead.
Nada.
Why can't we hear that?
No, sir. I'll tell you off here. But
see, now that's rude. That's just rude.
I'm rude boy.
Shouldn't have brought it up, Raheem. Now we wondering what you're talking about.
Right?
Rico, he's just waiting for you to say it. Rico, wait.
Oh, so am I.
Oh Lord. No, but I go ahead and put it on out there. But what I was talking to her, we had a little discussion, and she was saying, she don't want to be identified as a female. She's a man. She the man. She the man in the relationship, blah blah blah. I said, you the man in the relationship. I said, I'm gonna tell you the thing that separates from me from you. I said, and then
These.
no, I didn't. No.
I apologize for that.
I told her, I said, I guarantee you. I said, I guarantee you until you get to be a certain age, every 28 days, your body can do something that mine would never do. I said, every 28 days, your body's gonna do something that mine would never do. And she had like she didn't understand what I was saying. I said, do you still have a cycle? She looked at me. I said, do you still have a cycle? Do you still have a cycle? She said, yes, I do. I do. I said, I don't. I never did. I'm a man. I don't have those. Females have those. And I think a light kind of came on. I don't know if I changed her mind, but I think a light came on. Rico, talk to me, brother.
I'm gonna tell you, ain't nothing more funny to me than seeing them old ones that go through menopause.
Oh, Lord. Oh Lord, my God!
I don't want to deal with no dude going through menopause. I'm sorry. That could get
And they got
dangerous.
the shoulder sleeve rolled up. And
Stop it, Rico. Stop.
Ain't that confusing, man? That's dysfunctional, man. I tell you what, man. If I'm gonna go back to the China thing. You know, if a person did have to go to China and survive or try to make it the way that Raheem had brought up, man, one thing that they can't do is be a coward.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have some people that just sit back in the corner, they won't speak up or say nothing. They just sit back and, you know, just go with the flow. As for directions, they were going in the wrong direction. I think I'm lost. Well, hey, just stop and pull over and ask for directions. Now we'll just keep on going this way.
You're going the wrong way.
Now here it is, you know, went 3 hours more out the way because you was too scared to approach another human being and say, where is this place?
Yeah.
So you know that goes back to being that line again. You know, I mean, people think it takes a lot to be courageous, man. They think you almost have to risk your life. You don't have to risk your life to be courageous. Just speak up and say what needs to be said. That way you can handle the situation at hand. So, you know, there's one thing that I would hope if anybody was up in a situation that they would have the courage to know that they, even though they know they don't fit in, they know they're out of place, still have the courage to want to survive and get in your best predicament. Because, I mean, that's one thing. I used to be bad about that, getting in a crowd of people. I put it to this way, even with relationships when it come to women, me dropping out of college and not fulfilling my full potential, I still ended up being around a caliber of people that I should have always been around had I not stopped and fell off and made another decision. And then sometimes I get around these people and I will feel out of place because I didn't continue achieving what I should have achieved to stay in the same class. It was this mentality. You start feeling less than. You start doubting yourself, all because of these certifications. And don't get me wrong, maybe you did miss your potential. Maybe you did, you know, you haven't achieved and you got shortcomings or whatever. But if you are in that situation where you out of place, you out of your element, you still got to stand your ground. Those people will also realize you're out of your element, and some of them will take advantage of you because we are human beings. And in the world that we live in, some of those people it makes them feel better to know that they are here and you are there. They'll take advantage of that. I mean, it's human nature. So you got to have courage. Well, whatever you get involved in, you got to be courageous and you got to be brave. Even if you're out of your element, if you are a CEO that happened to get busted and had to go to prison and you sitting up in prison with a bunch of old dope boys, you better still have some courage. Vice versa. You will drop out and you happen to be around Bill Gates. Don't sit back and sit on your hand and keep your mouth shut. Oh man, I ain't gonna say nothing. They got money. But what you're saying is really logical. You have a valid opinion. I don't care what your position or your title is. You still put your pants on one leg at a time like me. You're gonna bleed like me. You're gonna die like me. So I'm gonna be courageous enough to step in and say what I need to say, especially if it's gonna help me or if it's gonna protect me.
And see, we use the scenario, Badger, about China. There's some cities and states you could take some people from. If you take somebody from
He froze up. Take somebody from Alabama and put them in Atlanta, and they'll walk around and hold hands.
You know, I'm obviously not looking at my screen, so all I noticed was Raheem. I'm just waiting on Raheem to say what he's
Right?
gonna say, and so I
He,
look back at the screen, and
he
that's
in
all I.
his, he in his Martin Luther King pole right now.
He done froze up again. You know,
But I like what you said, man, about those survival skills, Rico, in your comment.
Mhm.
And he really, that's all I'm learning now, that not everyone really has that under their belt, I guess. Because just to be able to think about it, if you were left and neglected by your parents, and you get to a certain age and where you on your own and you out here just surviving, and you run into all different types of people. And if you don't have that skill or have that desire, because I always believe that self-preservation was innate. But when I ran into people that would almost lay down and just die, that really was off-putting to me. And where some people have so much sympathy that way, I had to learn to at least try and find out why they don't fight. What is it about? What happened that you don't fight back if someone is doing something to you? And I never could understand that. Even when I listen and talk with you all online and I hear people share certain things, I'm like, maybe I'm just a a-hole. Because I fight everybody. If you try to do anything to me, I naturally will fight you. And I don't understand how some people go along with that and allow
Well, we
others
have
to
to
abuse them.
Hey, Leonard. Hey,
Yes,
Leonard.
sir.
Badger laughed real hard when you say you're a-hole, man. He laughed real hard that time now.
But I'm okay. I guess that's what some would call me, I guess. I mean, I've been called that plenty of times.
Mhm.
But I think it's because I'm very direct, and I don't believe in laying down
Mhm.
for people and whatever they say. I don't just go along with what you. If you say something wrong, I immediately, excuse me,
Yeah.
because I don't want us to go no further
Mhm.
with bad information out there like that, Or if we're talking in a personal conversation, I'll say, "Excuse me, could you?"
How do you do that, Leonard, in a business setting? In a
Oh,
corporate?
excuse me. I always clarify. In business, I'm even more direct.
Mhm.
It's just plain black and white when it's business.
Mhm.
So we clarify everything,
Mhm.
So I
Because
think. Go
the
ahead.
reason why I said, and I don't mean to cut you sorry for that, but the reason why I said it, because some people, when they get into a certain element, when they get into a business surrounding, they feel as though they can't say anything. They do like Rico said, sit on their hands and act like as if they're not there.
Oh, I
And
understand that.
and so many other people could probably very well have the same question
Mhm.
that you have, but you just don't. But you just didn't have the courage to ask that question.
Yeah, that is a thing. That is a big thing, as a matter of fact. And I know because of having training in training people in corporate America to encourage people to ask questions.
Mhm.
People would always ask, "Well, how do you know all this? How can you be a subject matter expert on this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah?" It's because I ask questions and I do
Mhm.
research and I find out, where you'll hear some people, like, say, for instance, acronyms.
Mhm.
And in a technical world, everything has acronyms.
Yes.
And what you'll find out, there are some people that have been doing those jobs for years that don't really even know what the acronym means, but they've
Wow.
been doing the job.
Mhm.
See, so it's ways to get things done. And there are ways to adapt. We used to call it what? Fake it till you make it.
Mhm.
You might
Yep.
get the job, but you ain't no expert. So whatever you don't know, you have to constantly study to make yourself acquainted with. Like I
Mhm.
say, I may be dumb about something today, but I won't be dumb about it tomorrow.
Exactly. And what I was saying when I got so rudely cut off by the system, I was saying that some people we was talking about China, but we go, some people could be from Idaho, And if you drop them off in certain parts of Brooklyn, the Bronx, or different places like that, they speak the same language. But Rico, they totally a fish out of water, man. They ain't gonna do nothing. They may even die right there.
I
Go
see
ahead.
it all the time. I see it
Mm-hmm.
all the time, man. I mean, you know, I tell y'all about my past, my Freaknik days and my strip club days, man. I mean, Atlanta was like my second home.
Mm-hmm.
I really should have just moved over there. I was over there just getting it in, having a good time. And during the days I was doing music, guys I was in a group with, they they had a certain confidence. People I hang with, even some of the drug dealers, man, they had a certain confidence about themselves around this little town that we were from. You know what I'm saying? And they, man, with the women, they had the most confidence. I mean, man, they did HNIC on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Yeah.
man, they had it going on. I'm like, man, you know what, man? Tired of these women around here, man. I'm tired of these clubs around here, man. Y'all need to go to Atlanta with me, man. I'm meeting women from New Orleans and North
Yeah.
Carolina,
Yeah.
New York, all over the place, man. And it's like we linking up, man. I mean, I feel like, man, I feel like I'm a worldly person now.
Mm-hmm.
You need to come over here to the club with me. They didn't want to get out of their comfort zone. They didn't want
Wow.
to come in. So you know what I started seeing was a level of self-consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
No confidence. You just cooling your element, but you know when you get outside these lines, these county lines or these city lines, these boundaries, you ain't the guy no more. You got to prove
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Yep.
build this facade.
Yep.
See, I'm me. Wherever I go, I'm me. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to go. So you know, I remember one time we went to the birthday bash. And these same dudes, I mean, these some big money dudes, man. They all flashing, popping out. I mean, you get around and they think they the stuff.
Yeah.
We go there to the bash, man. They bought sand to the beach. They linked
Wow.
up old throw-offs from here,
Mm-hmm.
tickets, paid their way over there, met up with them and spent the whole weekend with them. The whole time I'm meeting women that I ain't never met before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring sand to the beach for. But then
Mm-hmm.
the process as we were walking around the mall and meeting people and this and that, man, these jokers, like, they might have well held each other hand.
Good Lord.
Man, you could tell they were looking like they was like a
Fish out of water.
man.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, same thing when I was in New York. Guy I was working with, big boss man. Oh man, I got these events that I have with the Jacksonville Jaguar players, and I got all these connections with the governor, and we have these functions. Man, we got up in New York, and that joker was looking like he seen a ghost, man. He ain't never seen so many Puerto Rican and black people in life, man. That white dude
Yeah.
was scared, man. And I was like, man, he done went from being the big dog, the
Yeah.
boss man, CEO, and he
Mm-hmm.
looking like, man, he in a fit. I mean, he really was lost and man, terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Terrified. I'm like, man, where's the confidence? So it really showed me, really and truly, man, the type of confidence of a person to be able
And
to
that's how
get out of that element and still make it.
and that's how you silence a lion right there. That's how you silence a lion. Badger, talk to me, brother, because and it's amazing how it came full circle. You know, we and people that listen may say, man, they on a whole different. No, we on the same subject because we're talking about silencing that lion, and that right there is how you silence that lion. He was a lion where he was. It was down there doing all the things with the Jacksonville Jaguars and doing all this and doing. He was a lion, but as soon as he hit them sands of New York, and he started seeing something that's a little different than what, it all changed. He went from a lion to a little pussycat, just like that, just like that. That's how you silence a lion. Badger, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart? I knew he was gonna be laughing, man. I knew.
Oh no, that word just.
Well, pussycat.
Anyway, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that word has too many meanings nowadays. Um,
Badger, Badger,
it's
Badger,
hard.
you're going somewhere, Badger. I'm gonna reel you back in. You're going somewhere.
Yeah, I stopped.
Okay, all right, okay. You about
You know, and that's the thing. Like, I understand what y'all are saying, but because I have a different personality,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm not as affected like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, you know, the characteristics of thick skin, attitude, the way I carry myself, you know, when I'm in an environment that I don't know, my entire body language changes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very quiet. I'm very reserved. But most people that that meet me for the first time in person, especially if I'm in an environment I don't know, they're absolutely terrified to even speak to me because they think I'm going to bite their head off. So it's just the way I carry myself. Because growing up the way I did, being on the streets and everything, I didn't have that prideful mentality. I'd stand up and I'd protect people that need to be protected, but I wouldn't talk to the people, because I approached it differently. I used my thick skin and tenacity to handle the situations I'm in. I can come across as very aggressive, and make people wonder, is he worth fighting? Like, if we fight him, are we actually going to be able to handle it? So, and then that's just how I handle things. Even when I went from South Carolina to Houston, Texas, it was a culture shock. Because people didn't have the same respect and morals and things like that. So I went back to a lot of the older ways I would, walk around and live and stuff like that, and people left me alone. And the people that did poke me, they found out that I may be quiet and reserved, but I'm tough as nails. It don't matter if you hit me with a 2x4 or beat the hell out of me. I'm going to stand back up. I'm going to laugh about it, and I'm going to keep walking. So to me, watching lions in nature and everything else, you can bop them on the nose and they'll run off. Badger ain't going to do that. You see the videos where king cobras, attack a honey badger, and that's one of the most poisonous snakes in the world, and they just go to sleep and then they wake up, shake it off, and eat it anyway. That's more my personality style, my characteristics. So it's hard for me to group everyone with the same kind of characteristics. So like I can understand, the way people use the word lion meaning courage and things like that. But to me, a person that truly has a lion characteristic, I don't share the same view as other people do on the word lion.
Okay. That's good.
So to me, a person that has a lion characteristic is very respectful to women. They hold women higher than themselves because they know they can't succeed without them. So
Okay.
in my eyes, a lot of people claiming to or saying that they're a lion don't have those characteristics. They don't have the same characteristic as that male lion, if they're male, as that male lion in that pride.
Okay, good deal. And see, and that's the thing that I'm talking about right there, man. What Enrico was talking about as well, Leonard. You could take the lion out of Idaho and put that same lion in New York, Brooklyn, Bronx, Oakland, California, or wherever it is, and he's still a lion, but you humbled him. That's how you silence a lion. What do you say to that?
I guess. I mean, if you said he was a lion, I guess he a lion.
Well,
but it's something. Somebody has made a mistake.
Made a mistake
that he wasn't a lion anyway.
Well, in a comfortable environment, he
wasn't. That's the thing about it.
He presented himself as a lion.
That's the thing about it. Lions don't care about comfortable environments. A lion is a lion wherever it is. And that's this thing. Why I was never caught up in the streets. Because I had enough sense to believe that the world was a lot bigger than where I was at.
Come on.
Think about it. There are some people with a mentality that does not exceed 25 miles outside of where they was born and raised. That's the issue. Because that's going to make a difference when you got to, for some reason or whatever, go somewhere else, or things change, or demographics change. So I would rather people be consistent. There should be something that should be consistent about you. Or else you what we call, you just old wishy-washy person. Wherever you at, that's who you become. That's what you is. That's sad that you have people who don't think of themselves as a part of something much bigger.
What if they say, well, I'm just a chameleon?
But you'll never hear too many comedians say it. Comedians are usually I watch comedy all day. That's what I do. So it's amazing their mindsets and how they think about things. And that's how they're able to make you laugh. Because they say absurd things.
Watch this, Rico. Now, who in the game is funnier than Richard Pryor?
It's not about being funny. Once you're funny, you're funny. It doesn't matter who you're funny to. You're just funny. And even racism couldn't lie about it. Even racism couldn't lie about true characters that were gifted and talented, whether they sing, painted, danced, crack jokes. People who change just because of where they go, these are unstable people. And that's why they're easily in predicaments, I would say. Because there's certain people out there, they don't know. They need guidance. And lions have to be sensitive to that. Because it's hard to to understand that you wouldn't fight for your life.
Yeah.
As an activist. I understand people got things to do or what have you, but to just think it's not worth it to say, I don't know why you protested. Y'all need to stop all that. Come on, man. Really? We got to be better than that at some point.
I tell them, your fear don't rub off on me.
Exactly. And that's the point. We all have a part to play in it. We need everybody, whether you I see public citizens, whether you a lion, a wolf, a badger, a owl, it all can work together. It all works together. Lions not trying to convince you they the best. They just lions.
And see, everybody have their role in this thing called the animal kingdom.
Right. It's a kingdom that way. Even the Bible makes references to a kingdom. Everything's not the same in the kingdom.
That's right.
It's not. The only thing they really have in common is that they worship the king. That's it.
Yep.
That's what everything has in common in that kingdom.
Public citizen, I thought you was going to call in with us today. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Public citizen, give us a call, brother. You putting a lot of great
he puts great. I mean, that's why I always shout, because he puts excellent comments on that other side, which I can't comment on. I can only comment on that one side, the way it's set up.
Yeah.
But the comments are excellent, like he just mentioned. That balance and how he says some jobs call for lion, wolf, badger, owl, dove, hawk, you name it. And this is why the Bible is written a certain way that appealed to nature, because nature was first. That's why we learn from it, because it was first. So if we watch nature, that's what we did. Remember how I asked you, how did man learn to do all these things?
Yeah.
So you can't just walk around here being a lion and nothing else exists, or you would starve to death.
Yep.
You can't do it. But that's a great comment that citizen puts in the chat.
Exactly. I'm trying to get public citizen to call in. We gentle, kind people over here. Public citizen, you could call in. Go ahead, Badger.
And that's one of the things, the savages that they got called for so long, the Aboriginals all across the world. You know, when you look at their origin stories or how they got fire or things like that, you know, it talks about, you know, the great mystery, you know, the
Mhm.
supreme being, whatever terminology they want to call the supreme being, because he's called many things, or the um, it's to me interesting because when you look at the origin stories or you look at the stories of how they got fire, you know, the it was usually associated with an animal
Mhm.
or someone that was given the knowledge somehow. Like there's one story of, you know, a raven. You know, they used to say that ravens were white, but
Mhm.
you know, it flew up and it carried the fire down to the people. You know, and that's how it turned black. That's why it's, you know, when you look at it in certain shades of the sun, you know, it's iridescent, the feathers.
Mhm.
You know, so like most of the stories like that isn't has nothing to do with worshiping them. It's a story to learn from. You know, in some cultures, you know, an owl represents death or change. And there's a lot of people that are afraid of owls because it represents change, because people don't want to change. You know, so it's interesting looking into that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
so many people won't because they consider it savage or of Satan or, you know, all kinds of negative how do you pronounce that? Condon
You saying connotations or?
yeah.
Mhm.
What you scoffing over there for, Leonard?
Connotations, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like me and Leonard talk, you know, off the show about that kind of stuff and how like I've had so many people because I look at that stuff. I pay attention to it. You know,
Mhm.
why in the world, you know, I'm living in town. Why did a random fox just appear out of nowhere? One and only once. Just randomly appear running through my yard, stops and just looks at me. You know, if God created everything, could that possibly have been some kind of message?
Mhm.
You know, God talks to us differently.
Like three little birds sitting on my doorstep.
Oh, here we
We
go.
go. Go ahead, Rico.
I like what Leonard said earlier about that consistency. You know, that's one thing that's very necessary with a lion or anybody that considers themselves to have the characteristics of a lion is that
Mhm.
consistency and legitimacy. Um, you see, people have this fake it till you make it mentality. I think
Yes,
that was
sir.
earlier.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to pretend to be a lion because that's favorable. They idolize lions. They idolize being the kings, the ones
Mhm.
in charge. But you know, when you like you said earlier, you take them out that environment, man, and you might see that lion turn into a mouse. I've
Mhm.
seen situations where the loudest one with the flyest mouth, you get them across them city lines, man, them city limits, and you forget they even in the car.
Yep.
You forget they was even with you, man. What's so and so, man? He quiet. You know,
Mhm.
so a real true lion, they gonna be natural. There's only one way they know that at their natural instincts, and so that really shows you what a person is about. You see, because if you are an amazing, charismatic person in your city, you should be able to have the same charisma in anybody else's city.
Mhm.
Anywhere on this planet, if somebody can understand your language, you should be able to portray that same personality, that
Come
same
on.
charisma and excitement that people love about you. That's
Mhm.
why comedians can go from club to club, from state to state, and rock it every night. That's why entertainers or whoever can go from state to state, speakers can go from state to state and do what they do because they have that charisma. They are naturally gifted to do that. They're not just embracing a title and saying, well, I'm going to make myself a lion. I want people to believe I'm the HNIC. I'm the
Mhm.
big dog. See, it's a natural instinct as a warrior to be courageous and be brave. So imagine the first time a lion encountered people, he dominated people. Probably still one of his people, but he dominated people. But then after a while, he encountered some people. These people had guns.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know nothing about the guns. He still don't know nothing about the gun because it's in his nature to fight against any threat.
Mm-hmm.
So now I look at let's talk about black people in Africa before colonization. I'm pretty sure they were used to being warriors and fighting a certain way, fighting any enemy that was a threat to them. And they had the same motivation, but then when this white man came with this gunpowder, these weapons, this advantage, sooner or later that courage had to die down a little bit. You still had a few true warriors, and it's still in the bloodline today of those that still gonna stand up and fight, regardless of the guns and the weapons that's been produced by the weaker people. But you still are able to identify the real line because they're gonna still stand and fight. They ain't gonna cower down and they ain't gonna say, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and ignore what's going on or look over this, overlook this, or embrace this just to solve the problem. No, you got to stand for what's right and stand for what's wrong. So it's not really hard to understand who a true lion is or what a true person is, you know. Because like I said, it's gonna be consistent. Leonard said it earlier. I don't care where you put a lion. That lion is going to be a lion because it's natural.
Yeah.
You take the great white shark and put him in a swimming pool. If that swimming pool deep enough, and the chlorine won't kill it, it can adapt to that water. That great white is fixing to own that sea.
Yep. Exactly. Gonna take over. Listen, man, this is 9:59. Time for us to get out of here. This has been a great broadcast, man. We went full circle with this conversation. That's why I love it, man, because some people listening be like, man, how they get there? We're still talking about the same thing. It didn't change. Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today?
At 3:00 today, if you fail to see this show in its entirety, you can catch it at the time that I just mentioned, 3:00 Eastern Standard Time on DKM, www.DKM Media Group or DKM Media 1.1 on Facebook.
Absolutely. Captain Leonard, can I get you the prayers out, sir?
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you once again for another opportunity to share that which we have for one another. We hope that we strengthen and encourage someone this morning. Dear Heavenly Father, these are the blessings I ask in Jesus' name. Be blessed. Amen.
Amen. It's been a great broadcast. It is now 10:00 time for us to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow being a part of your morning. It is now 10:00, straight up and down 10:00. And we're about to get out of here. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. We shine some of this light in you from the morning glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. And do me a favor. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Love you and have a great day.